Hello, let me continue with a small attempt which I had made last time. The thing what I wanted to start at that time was this what do you call battery holder. You see here, does it look a little like what I have shown you here? Please have a look at this. Yeah, you have seen this. This is exactly the same item which has been shown there. So, one of the things you will notice about it is that there was an attempt to bring all the what do you call the for us to put it onto a printed circuit board or inside a part separately. Now, if you go back to this drawing, if you see this drawing, there is an attempt here. Can you see here? There is a small slot here and then something here, and the most important is two lugs have been brought here. This is where probably 3D printing makes a advantage over simple conventional old way of making things, because incorporating all these details into another part and modifying it slightly is relatively easily. Sometimes once in your lifetime probably you need to just what do you call access all these dimensions, make all this detailing, leave it there, and whenever you want you are able to access them as you like. If you go to the usual what do you call the place where look for everything, one of the first thing you will notice is often there are many more non-technical, something which attracts everybody's attention type of objects that are shown here. I think you know what it is, and then you know a lot of it is probably fantasy objects. You see here how a human face can be printed, or how a, I do not know which character it is or anything, which was earlier not possible easily. However, in reality we end up with having to build real life technical products. So, typically I will probably start with one of these technical things. You see here it looks like maybe something which is taken from comic, and same thing here, then you have a tortoise, then you have anything. As we just keep going, a lot of it seems to be only about how to create interesting objects. You see here, it is about how to create I do not know some figure and so on, which was not so easy just about 20 or 30 years back. Now, if you please look back at kindly look at two cells I have here. The starting point of everything, luckily for us, is saying look out for all the parts you want. I think all of you know what it is. No, I am not promoting saying you must buy only the Duracell bunny and how it keeps going and so on. It has nothing to do with it. Yeah, Duracell bunny is there. All I just wanted to say is this one represents one type of a technology where if you see the top, it is slightly different, meaning there is a depression here, there is something here at the back which is a lot related to the technology. And then if you see one of these commercial good old zinc chloride cells, zinc chloride cells have the way the top is made, the top projects a little, and the way the back is made, it is slightly different. You have seen this. So, it depends a lot on the technology, and then your ingenuity in when you are to make some device which is fitting like this, your ingenuity on how well you can make this object. But what I am going to say is a little generic about in general how to use a computer aided drafting this thing. In the case of a computer aided drafting is, if you have the source, everything else follows naturally. Battery holder I have shown you. Then please have a look at this what you call picture which is taken from Energizer AAA. You have seen this here. everything what you want is defined and ready, so that it is easy for us to start from here and then try to make whatever you wanted to make. You have seen here there is something called minimum that is given here, saying the height of this positive terminal will be a minimum of 0.8 millimeters. Similarly, the contact available at the back is 4.3 millimeters and the maximum diameter and so on is given here. Now, you may be wondering why this is required. Why this is required is when you need this type of a detailing. You have seen this. In case you need to make certain guarantee that your product does not get destroyed by wrong insertion, this is the point to start, unless you have the original information. So, if you look back at the drawing, if you see we have a insulator here, you have seen this, we have an insulator, they have made a small hole, the dimension of E and F, and then similarly the dimension here, and then how much of gap you give, and make sure that reverse battery insertion does not damage the product. So, I just wanted to tell you that all information that is regarding all the components need to be collected in advance. Now, I will go for the what you call next one here and look for something else which it's a very routine common thing, is it not? We see this so called 5 millimeter LED, I mean whatever you can call it, and then now at the right side bottom if you see several things regarding how to use these items in our project are given here. So, typically once again if you go to any of these things here, if you see this picture, one of the first things you will notice is all the dimensions you need are already given here. Something else also given here, saying what about the orientation, how to keep it placed in one place. The idea why I am showing you this is, which is generic to most of the CAD this thing is, as your designs progress, you need to gather all this information, make it into a library and keep it somewhere. The thing being, these are all contracted dimensions which are given by the manufacturer, and usually they are shared across everything and most of them are interchangeable. Now, let us say you are to make a torch. If you remember last time I showed you that small torch. So, how do we go about that torch? We now need to what do you call look for, I will see whether I still have it, lucky we do not have it. If I had to now start with making a small thing, saying I need a small circular I mean what do you call device which I need to print it. This is where no, it is not purely technical as you would find let us say a 4-bar linkage or a compass or things like this. I think you have seen that, no? It is a watch for dumb fellows who can't even count their steps. So, this of course, I think you know what it is. It is one of those Fitbit challenge watches. So, it will keep track of it. I need to wear it because of some other thing. So, if you look at the my computer thing, I will try to start there and show you how best. Now, get back to the this what I started last time. I will flush everything, start with a new object. I hope you remember this. This where we had started earlier. I want to make a small torch which typically lights up a white LED. If you go at the white LED specifications, one of the thing it says is most white LEDs require at least 3.7 volts to be run in the positive, in the forward current. To drive a forward current you require 3.7, and typically rechargeable or anything probably requires around 1.2 to 1.3 volts it can safely give. So, I need to make a torch which uses 3 cells. So, what I do here is, as before which I have explained it earlier, I start with a solid, or even anything even better, I will just start with a simple curve and start a layout which will make things easier for me. So, if I draw here now, typically from the catalog I have noticed that the length of that cell is 45 mm, and then the width is probably around 8 mm. Okay. Slowly this is my starting point. I just check using this my command here, wrong line that I have taken, delete. Once again I will try this line. This is what I wanted to try. This is a 45 mm line which I wanted. I will delete it at this moment. I have no interest for the dimensions. See, this is the starting point of one of my cells. So, here I will just finish this a little faster. I have put a it looks a little like a torch cell. Now, coming back to the old what I call concept, saying I want to make a torch with 3 cells, because typically a white LED needs it. So, I have several options here. One of them is I will group the whole lot into one item and then see what I can do with it. Easier thing will be looks easy, is it not? But it looks to me a little dull, saying by some I do not know. I wanted to make it look a little interesting. I will just see if I can make instead something else which has a small elements of novelty. Say what I will do is I try to now arrange these things in a different way. Seen something slowly. Is it possible for me to make a triangular or something which is easy for me, and advantage of it is right now what I will do instead is I will try to start with a circle. See whether these three objects I will push them into the circle. Looks neat. So, depending on the way I can manage things, I will be able to probably make something which is little unique, which is very different from what already exists. And then why did I choose this? As I said, it is a matter of convenience and so on. So, I had randomly chosen these things here. Now, you will notice that this particular what do you call thing now may not be very convenient for me, because you see that it is there is no way of putting a contact here and putting a contact there. So, is there something else I can do? Yes. What I will do is I will move this out a little like this and see if I can array the same triangular array, whether it will make sense. See, I have got a little more gap compared to what I had done earlier. Little more gap is there. Now it is possible for me to now build on this and say what best I can do. And for the LEDs, if you remember, that was a 5 LED. So, by the same what I call using a similar logic, I will see whether I can provide 3 say I have got a place for 3 what do you say LEDs here. Now I start building up on the small objects that I have created. This is only a flat 2D structure. Now as I keep building, I will try to try to see as much as I can to try to keep on and then try to switch on more productivity aids, which will help me in try to provide some what you call other tools. So, one of them is I have a OSNAP tool here. Oh. Sorry, I am not able to configure it on the fly. The thing being, this is the very basic layout. Now, again going back to where I had started earlier, instead of just working in 2D, I will see how well I can work on this 3D point of it. Okay. If you see I will just get rid of all these things. try to see whether I can create a three-D what do you call cell. So, this typically is a cylindrical object as seen here. I have a cylindrical object like this which can form the what you call whatever I am trying to look, and to make it simple so that regeneration is easy, I will try my best not to what do you call make a very complicated object, and now I see whether I can however, as before I try to make a polygon here for the concept of a I am again trying to get back to the layout of having how to arrange all these three in a what I call in a triangular fashion. So, I am slightly better off from the point where I have started. So, now I will try to array them. So, I have got all these things mounted cutely on a 3D array. So, if I now go and see the side view, I will notice that they seem to be quite what do you call happily sitting in a triangular fashion like this. It is now easy for me. So, right now because of the for the purposes of how to tell to make the thing easy and simple, I have not made the detail 100%. Now, I will see what else I can add to the thing about the say a very cute thing I have started here. Can you see? That is actually a small reflector. So, it is possible for me to put a lamp inside that. The thing is, most of the LEDs, if you see even the ones that are pointing up, if you go back to the characteristics of it. So, sir, can you show me this what do you call this other monitor? You can show me the other monitor. I will go back here and ask for if I go and examine these things, we see that there is a beautiful this thing, and very, very important thing is the spread and okay, where all these things can be huge amount of data is available, and particularly what I am looking for is the focusing and this type of a data here. Can you see here candle power distribution of typical LEDs. So, one of the things you will notice is next time if you take a small what do you call a small LED like this, you will notice that a lot of light comes to the front. In the front directly where this lens is there, lot of light comes, and then lot of light also leaks on the left side. So, if I somehow can get to that, the cone of light that each LED gives, and you see here this specifically what I was looking for. Can you see here? If you see this typically, see I have a beautiful picture here. So, the moment you have understanding optical performance of LEDs, you have a lot of data about how to what do you call play around with these the reflector that we have and so on. Even in the case of the old standard 5 mm LED, if you look at the what do you call the way the light spreads, it changes a lot. So, standard thing Fresnel nested lenses and so on and so on, no? We have a non-stop array of how this LED can see what I am looking for, I have come here. In case you have a cheap LED, you now end up with having to design things which are a little like this. So, we have the lens here, that lens will also ensure that the light can get collimated.